Hey guys, welcome to our final section of chapter 6 and actually of our entire semester of the pre-algebra program. Congratulations, you made it 17 weeks here, just about to the end. And then you're going to get a nice long break for Christmas, which is awesome. So this section is entitled Probability and is actually pretty fun. And again, a long-term skill. You're going to see it again in algebra. You're going to see it in algebra 2, and you're going to see it on the SAT and ACT. So this basic concept, you need to really kind of hone in on. We're going to spend 2 days on it just to make sure that it kind of solidifies, because you're definitely going to see it and need it later on. So, okay, I'm going to propose 2 different scenarios and work several probabilities from both. So the first one has to deal with marbles. And let's say that we have 4 blue marbles and we have 6 red marbles. We have 3 green marbles and we have 2 yellow marbles. Okay, all in a bag. The first thing that you need to do in order to be able to calculate probability is to find out how many you have in all. Okay, so in order for us to set up what's going to become our proportion to find the probability, what you need is the total of what you have. And in this case, if we add 4 and 6, I'm going to get 10, 3 is 13, and 2 is 15. So my total number of marbles is going to be 15. Okay, and then in order to be able to calculate our probability, what goes on top of our proportion is what we want. Okay, so in this case, if I wanted something like to find the probability of pulling a green marble out of this bag of marbles, well, I'm always going to put my total on the bottom, my total number of marbles. And then I have to identify how many green marbles are in the bag. So I'm just going to look at my chart here and I see that there are 3 green marbles in the bag. Okay, so now I'm going to take my fraction and I'm going to reduce it. And then I'm going to do my division, which you guys are getting really good at. And then I'm going to change it to a percent. So the probability of finding a green marble, or pulling a green marble, I should say, from this bag is either 1/5 or 20%. Sometimes they're looking for the fraction, sometimes they're looking for the percent. So I'm just going to work both of them for you as we go. Okay, so what if they're looking for the probability of a blue marble? Sticking your hand in the bag and pulling out a blue. Well, there's still 15 marbles in total, and we had 4 of the blue marbles. So 4 is what we want, that goes on top. When we divide this, we get 0.2666 repeating. And then when we convert to the percent, it's going to be 26.7%. So the probability is either going to be 4/15 or 26.7%. All right, let's see one more easy one. What's the probability of pulling out a red marble? So 15 altogether, and there were 6 red marbles in our bag. And when we divide this, we're going to get 0.4. And when we convert that, we're going to get 40%. So either 6/15, which we'd actually need to reduce to 2/5, or 40%. Okay, so those are pretty straightforward. But what if they asked us something like, what is the probability of not pulling a green marble? Okay, so basically we want everything except the green. And there are 2 ways that we can do this, so you can decide which one seems a little bit easier for you. So one option would be to add the probabilities of everything that's not green. So for us, it could be the probability of the blue plus the probability of the red plus the probability of the yellow. We could find all of those. In fact, we found 2 of those already. We could add them up and find the probability that way. Or if you notice, we could, all the probabilities add to 100. Percent is always out of 100. So another option would be to take 100 and simply subtract the probability of the green. And that would also give us the correct percent. So let's go ahead and do both. I'll show you that both add up to the same. So we found the probability of blue, remember that? Again, you could use fractions or percents, but we did all the work for the percents, and those are the easiest. So I'm going to grab that one. So the percent for the blue was 26.7%. And we did the red. It was 40%. Excuse me. Whoa, hold on. It was 40%. Now, the only thing we didn't calculate was the yellow. So over here, I'm going to calculate probability of yellow. And we had 2 yellows over 15. And when I do that division and then my percent, I'm going to get 13.3%. I want you to make sure that you do that and that you get this number. And so I'm going to add this percent in. And when I total these guys up, I'm going to get 80%. So my probability of not pulling a green is 80%. Okay, but like I said, our other option here is to take, this is our first option, here's our second option, is to take 100 and subtract the probability of actually pulling the green. And whatever's left is your probability of not pulling the green. So the probability of pulling a green, we had 3 greens here. So we actually, again, did that percent. Remember that the probability of pulling it was 20%. And when I subtract that, again, I get 80%. Okay, let's see. Let me do one more of this type and then I'll move on to the other. What's the probability of pulling a yellow or red? Okay, again, now we want the probability of yellow, which was 13.3%, plus the probability of the red, because we can accept either in this case, which would give us a total of 53.3%. So the probability of pulling a yellow or a red is 53.3%. Okay, if that went pretty fast, make sure that you pause the video and you go back through it in your notes and make sure that that makes sense. There's one other type of probability in your assignment, so I wanted to make sure that we just looked at that in case you struggled to make the connection. And it's when they give you a spinner. My spinner is going to be awesome here. Not really. I'm really not the world's best drawer, to be honest. Okay, and let's just say that each piece of this spinner is a number from 1 to 8. Your assignment has different numbers in there, but for simplicity, I just did 1 to 8 for this example. Okay, and let's say that we wanted to find the probability of spinning a 6. Okay, so just to review, remember that our probability fraction or proportion is what we want over the total possibilities, okay? So in this case, we have 8 spots where the spinner could land, right? 1 to 8, but there's only 1 6. So my probability here is going to be 1/8. And again, I'm going to assume at this point that you could convert that to a percent if you needed to. What if we wanted to know the probability of spinning and landing on a prime number? Who remembers what a prime number is? All right, this is a good review. People often want to include 1 as a prime, but actually 1 is this weird exception, and 1 is not a prime number. So just to review for the spinner that we have, the prime numbers are going to be 2, 3, 5, and 7. Remember that a prime number is any number that is only divisible by itself and 1. Okay, so the number of primes that we have on our spinner is 4, and we still only have 8 pie pieces here. And so my probability of spinning a prime number is going to be 1/2. Okay, what if we wanted the probability of spinning something greater than 3? Now, this says greater, which is strictly greater than. If they wanted us to include the number 3, they would have said greater than or equal to 3. But in this case, it emphasizes the greater than, strictly greater than. So we don't want to include 3 here. We want to include everything greater than 3, which would be 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So again, 8 pie pieces, but now we have 5 possibilities to land on something that's greater than 3. And then finally, what if we wanted something like not an even number? Again, looking at our spinner, what are the non-even numbers, or what are the odd numbers? And for us, it's pretty straightforward. The odd numbers are going to be 1, 3, 5, and 7. And again, that probability is going to be 1/2. Okay, hopefully that this makes sense to you guys. There's a lot of examples in the book. So make sure that you pause the video, get your notes all caught up, and read through this section to make sense, particularly if you don't have any experience with it. And then go ahead and begin your assignment. After this section, we will review for the final test of the whole semester, the Chapter 6 test. And I'm excited for you guys to get a nice break here before we start up again. So finish things up and get going. Thanks.